when it comes down to the match, now there's quite a bit with this match, and I wanted to kind of get your breakdown because you are the expert. And I was actually doing a stream last night, and just to start it off with one of the most controversial things is the takedown. Speaking of the take me down challenge, Giorgio, did he get taken down? Did he not? Was Arman out of bounds? Apparently, there's this stuff about the if you initiate the shot inbounds and it's a continuous shot or something and you land out of bounds, it still maybe counts. I don't know. You're the
Yeah,
expert. So please inform
yeah,
us about the full color of this situation with the takedown and if Arman took him down officially or not, because the score table didn't give him the 2 points. They gave him one fair push out.
yeah. I saw that. The official awarded two, and then the score guys, the judges agreed on one. So it wasn't officially ruled a takedown. You know what I mean? And that's the nature of freestyle wrestling. That's why you have a few judges, because you're scoring stuff in live, which means it's open to interpretation. You and I could see the same event and witness it differently. You know what I mean? So it's open to interpretation. It's why they have the reviews in UWW. And obviously, we're doing live television with RAF. So I don't think the challenges are the best route. But the judges, the refs, could do a better job of being so haste and kind of formulating an opinion together amongst themselves of what actually transpired so they could do it in a more efficient manner that gives you an accurate score. You know what I mean? Because with Jordan Oliver, they're calling these push outs, they're calling them white paddles, which means they're saying it's floor, their ground opponent, no push out. But Jordan's like, hey, you guys just gave us a meeting that says we're on UWW rules. UWW saying there is only pushouts, which quite literally means anytime you go out of bounds, it's a point. Whether you're down on your knees, your toe, you know what I mean? There was another situation that transpired where they got a call wrong and didn't award a pushout. But we're all human and open to interpretation. So I mean, they see it and they call it the best they can live. You know what I mean? But back to your point, Armand started that shot in bounds. He got in on that leg attack in bounds. So for Giorgio not to give up a 4 or a 2 because of continuation, he's continuing that move. They allow you the grace to finish your action, even if you step out in the middle of that action, whether you're in the middle of executing a throw or a double leg, whatever the action is that you've started, you're allocated continuation. So the onus is on the defensive player. In this example, the onus is on George to not fall to his butt, to stay up on his feet out of bounds, to not let his back touch. Because in theory, they could have called that 4 as well, feet to back. Again, that's interpretation. It could have been called 4, it could have been called 2, but in that time, the judges agreed to call the 1 push out. But I do think it was a takedown for sure.
Okay, so you're of the train of thinking that it was a legit takedown and it should have been
Yeah,
scored for 2 or even 4.
yeah, because of continuation. Armand clearly started the whole attack inbounds.
Okay. And there's none of this thing about you gotta have 1 foot in bounds like the NFL or something when you catch a pass. As long as
No,
you started the shot and it's a
yeah,
continuous shot, you can
yeah.
essentially kinda, like, leap out of bounds to take him down.
Watch Yoel and I match. At the first exchange, I'm thinking it's 1 point me or 1 point him because I do a whole cartwheel out of bounds to make sure I don't expose because of continuation. And they still ended up awarding him 4, which
Yeah, I
I
saw
didn't agree
that.
with. And then I watched it over and I still didn't agree with it. I did a breakdown on it. You know what I mean? So it's again, it's open to interpretation. And sometimes you're on the good side of the call and sometimes you're not. You just got to keep wrestling through it. And, I got to do a better job of that myself. I lost my head at the World Championships and I kind of lost my composure in that match with Yoel because of those calls. It changes the way you got to wrestle. And now I'm like, locked in on trying to get a 4 point move back against one of the hardest guys to throw in the world. He's just so positionally sound. You saw how Buchanan wrestled him. You want to get leg attacks, get below his knee. You want to be finishing. You want to wrestle a high attack rate. You don't want to be hand fighting and sitting in control ties with this guy. So again, that open to interpretation is a big part of freestyle.
Yeah. Okay, so also to kinda, like, conclude that whole takedown thing, Giorgio, even if they went out of bounds, he should've because he did have a whizzer, so almost another option to save yourself on giving up points for a takedown is to, run that whizzer and go belly down, as they fell out of
Yeah.
bounds, but instead he
Yeah,
did go to
hard
his back.
Uchimata, hard whizzer kick, exactly. Hip down and just concede the 1 convincingly. You do what you can to show it's not a takedown or not a 4 point move.